The very first camera that I started recording with was a Sony Digital 8. It's the very first one that I remember. I can't even remember the model, but that's the one that I remember really liking the production side of stuff. I made a couple, I did a couple weddings. I think I filmed my mom's wedding with it, and I have some friends from church back when I went to church. I filmed their wedding, and then I did some editing, and it's one of those things I liked. I liked it as a hobby. I never thought that I'd get to where I'm right now. Later I upgraded, if you want to call it that. It took some time, but later I upgraded to some Nikon cameras and DSLRs, and made my first documentary with those two DSLRs, but Nikons. My daughter actually has both of them right now, and she still uses those, and she says that they're still okay. And then I upgraded. I went and I got a little bit more serious about the filmmaking, and then I upgraded. I got a little bit more serious about production. I got a little bit more serious about image quality to a certain degree, and I wanted to continue doing documentaries. So for me, I went from those Nikon cameras, and I really considered, like, what is something that I can use everywhere. Something I can use in a studio, something I can use out on the field. And I did something that a lot of people that are in my space probably disagree with. And that is, I got broadcasting cameras. Everybody was getting some really nice Panasonic. I do have Panasonics, but they are not mirrorless and they're not DSLRs. They are broadcast cameras. The one that we're on right now is the DVX 200. But this is probably the biggest camera that I have. It was the very first time that I got introduced into, I guess, big boy sensors, if you want to call it that. I know now people laugh at that, but it's got a micro four thirds. And I was excited about it. It was a nice camera. Everything that I needed for the studio, because I could set it up manual, and if I needed manual focus, manual zoom, everything manual, I can take care of that. But also, one of the things that I really enjoyed for documentary stuff, this is one of the things that I really struggled with the Nikons. And although the auto stuff really worked, it was nice. Sometimes in documentary work, you don't have the time to set up lights. You don't have time to set up a perfect angle and a perfect shot. Sometimes the person's in a hurry. Your subject is in a hurry, and they just need, you have 15 minutes to get the interview, and I don't have time to set a perfect lens and zoom and focus. And with these cameras, I could get far, I could get close, and it's going to do it for me. Is it going to be amazing? Is it going to be the crispest image that you've ever seen? Obviously not. But for me, it's going to be good enough. The very first Panasonic that I got was a Panasonic HCX1, which is this right here. And I'm switching over to these cameras. I've got them all set up. I'm switching over because there's a new camera that I got, and I'll show that later. But I want you to see the image differences. The image differences. Right now, I'm on the very first camera that I bought, the Panasonic HCX1. And this one was my introduction to I guess, a big boy camera, a professional camera, very first one professional. The Nikons were nice, but I wouldn't say that they were professional cameras. I made them work as professional cameras, but they weren't professional. And the image here is pretty nice. I don't care about the stuff that you guys care about, so for me this is pretty nice. Now, mind you, I'm not in 4K. I'm sending this to an ATEM switcher, and unfortunately, for whatever weird reason, in the infinite wisdom of Blackmagic, they decided to make their professional switchers not 4K. So this ATEM Mini Extreme is only in 1080, so this is just HD. So it's full HD, but it's just HD nonetheless. So all of the cameras that I have right now, I've got them set up in HD. So this is HD quality. The camera that I'm on is 4K. It does ultra HD, and it does 4K. It does a bunch of stuff. I think it goes up to 60 frames per second depending on the settings. At any rate, this is the image on that Panasonic HCX1. And then the second camera that I bought, camera number two, that is the Panasonic UX180, if I'm not mistaken. The Panasonic UX180. Now, this is essentially the same camera as the HCX1. There's not a huge difference between them. This one comes with SDI, so that was appealing to me because now, I don't know if you've ever worked with HDMI, especially at a distance, and you wanted to move around with cameras. That HDMI gets a little tricky. I've never had an issue with the HCX1, never. I haven't had an HDMI get pulled out. I'm usually pretty careful. But I've had these cameras on arms, on boom arms, and I've had these cameras on gimbals, and I've had these cameras on dollies, and I've never had an issue with the HDMI. But the fact that it's SDI, it's something that was appealing to me, right? Because it clicks in there and it's not going to snag out. Now, that could be a problem too, because it's in there, and if somebody yanks or something yanks on it hard enough, it's probably going to break the whole thing. HDMI, you might get away with just a broken input, which is easily replaced. But anyways, I digress. But that was appealing to me. It was a slightly better camera. It was new. The HCX1 was a used camera that I bought it used. Good price, but now I bought something that's new. It's slightly better camera. I could do some networking stuff with it. The HCX1, you couldn't do networking with it. So this one, if I wanted to set up some networking stuff, and I can. I've messed around with it, and it's actually pretty cool. Unfortunately, Panasonic doesn't really make an app for it anymore, so you can control it. But there's ways around it, and I think somebody has made their own app for these cameras. The HCX1 I can't control like that, but that I'm aware of anyway. So that little asterisk that I'm aware of, I can't control it remotely. But this one, the UX180, I can control, as well as the DVX200, which is now this camera. So we're gonna go back to camera number one. And I know I'm slightly out of order, but now we're back on the DVX 200. This is the one that I bought third. That's the third one. And now I got a new camera. This new camera is, I actually had no intentions of buying this camera. None whatsoever, especially with everybody ranting and raving about the Sony FX5, the Sony FX5. Now, Sony to me has kind of a special place. It's one of those weird brands that just weird to me. I had the Sony, the Digital 8. I honestly don't remember what the Sony Digital 8, the model was, but it was Digital 8. It was one of the very first cameras that you can hook up directly to your computer, and at that time I was using Sony Vegas. So Sony Vegas would capture the image directly from them. Man, was it a pain, because you basically had to watch the entire video as it was being sent to Sony Vegas. And but anyways, interestingly enough, I was at a pawn shop looking for another Sony Digital 8 so I can convert all of my old high 8 tapes, Digital 8 tapes or high 8 tapes, because they're recorded in Digital 8, they're encoded, and a regular high 8 camcorder won't read them. So I'm looking for that camera. And as I was in there, I stumbled upon a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 4K, and that's this image quality right here. And we're switching around just so you can see the difference in the image quality. You've seen the other ones, now this is this one. Actually, just very quickly, I'm going to confuse my wife. She's helping me with the switchboard. She's never really done it before. So we're gonna mess with her really quick. I want you to see the difference in image quality between all four of them before I really start talking about this camera and why I bought it. So if we go to camera number one, and then is that camera number one? And then if we go to camera number two, did you get it? Yeah. So we're at camera number two right now. That's the image quality for camera number two. And then we're going to go to camera number three. Did you get it? Oh, snap. Now we're in camera number three. And now we're going to go back to the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera. That's the one that's right there. Now, once I bought one, they get lonely. That's why I have 3 Panasonics, and I ended up getting a brand new one. This one, I was looking for that Sony Digital 8, so I can do the transfer of the videos from that to add real digital stuff, so that we can have them on the hard drives or the SSDs. I ended up buying another one, and I know everybody just recently bought the Sony FX5. Everybody's making videos about the Sony FX5. And here I am making, in 2026, a video about a camera that came out 7 years ago, I think, 8 years ago. It hasn't really changed. By today's standards, old technology. Now, I have to mention this. The lighting that I have isn't perfect. I wanted it that way. I wanted less than ideal lighting so that we can see the difference between all of them. I think I'm being a little unfair to the Blackmagic camera because it's not in its maximum. But I also wanted to show how amazing this camera was, still in less than ideal conditions for this camera. Now, if you know anything about this camera, you use lenses unlike the other cameras that I have. So you have to get the perfect lens. The lenses that I have, the lens that's on there right now, I should talk about that. The lens that I have on there right now is not electronic, so it's not communicating with the body. So I can't adjust the zoom. I can't adjust the focus automatically. It's all manual. So the way it was right now, if I move back, if I move forward, it is what it is. So like if I'm blurry right now, it's my fault. It has to be on me if I'm blurry right now, because I moved, I shifted, I rotated. I have to get it perfect, and that's why the other cameras appeal to me. I was a little nervous about getting a camera like this because I knew these ones, you have to be good. You don't have to be the best, but you have to be good at rotating that ring and making sure that your ISO is good, and making sure that a lot of stuff that honestly intimidates me. But I did want to show this video. Right now, this video is on the Blackmagic, and on the other ones, I've got it set at 1080. So that lens, when I bought it at the pawn shop, that I bought it because it was a good deal at pawn shop. I don't know if I mentioned that, but it was a really good deal at pawn shop. I was looking for a Sony Digital 8, and I stumbled upon this camera. They had it on sale. It was a manager special. I think it had been there since January, so we're like 7 months in, it still hadn't sold. Originally, they wanted $1,500 for it, and they had it listed for, I believe, close to $900. And the guy at the pawn shop says, but if you put it on layaway, I don't know if they get extra commission for layaway stuff, but he says if you put it on layaway, I'll bring it down to $790. It was slightly under $800. That doesn't include tax, obviously, but it was, let's just call it $800 if I put it on layaway. So I put it on layaway. I told my son's, I've been looking for a cinema camera. He was gonna get the Nikon, I forget which model it was, but Nikon's cinema camera. And I was like, well, let's go halvesies on this one, the one we're recording on right now. He's like, yeah, I'll do it. So he put in $400. I put in $400. It came with 3 lenses. It came with these ones, the Makey. Don't even know what it is. From what I understand and what I've learned from them is that they're okay. They're not super high quality. They're not low quality, but they're all right. And this one is a 50 millimeter, which on this Blackmagic camera, if you know anything about them, the sensor is a micro 4/3. So this 50 on that camera is essentially a 100 millimeter. This one is the 25, same thing, the 25, and then the one that you guys are watching me on right now, that is the 12. So essentially a 24 on the Micro Four Thirds. But I have the camera set up in 1080. I have the camera set up in 1080 to kind of be fair on image quality, because the other ones have to be in 1080 in order for them to send the signal to the A10 Mini. I've got the A10 Mini Extreme, which only does 1080. This one, I could keep it at 4K. I could keep it at 4K, and it will encode and it will send the signal still to the A10 Mini. I can't think of the word, but it will send the 4K image, and it will resize it digitally. It'll resize it so that you can have it in the A10 Mini. Now, in the A10 Mini, it would have still done it in HD in 1080, but you would have had the framing of the 4K. When I switch over to the 1080, obviously that crops it a little bit. So that's why I look a little bit more zoomed in. If I had this in 4K, you would actually be able to see a lot more. I wanted to be fair so that they're all on 1080, same frame rate, all of that stuff. The only thing I did do with this one, which I think is cheating a little bit, I don't have it in log or raw. I'm sorry. I don't have it in raw. Log is a Sony thing. Sorry. I don't have it in raw. I have it. I do have a LUT in it. So I did add one of their LUTs. Now the LUT that I have on it is one of the ones that comes pre-programmed into the camera. I don't know which one it is. Maybe I'll put it down on the screen, let you know which one it is. It's the very first one. I just threw a LUT in it. So I think that's kind of cheating. The only reason I did that is because the other ones, actually my DVX 200, you don't need to switch to it. My DVX 200 does Vlog, which is similar to S-Log on a now I'm confused with all these acronyms and all that shit. It's similar to Sony's. It's Panasonic's kind of version or answer to Sony's color technology. So that one does do it, but I don't have it on there. The other ones, they don't have anything like that. They don't have anything like that. Their color technology is nice, but not as nice as the DVX 200, if you want to call it nice in 2026. So anyways, I did add that LUT just to kind of be fair so that they all have about the same image quality. What I don't want to do is edit this in post. I didn't want to edit in post, because in post, if I do something to this camera but not the other ones, that's not fair. I wanted to be straight from the body. So I don't know if that's a fair shot. My lighting is atrocious. I did that on purpose. Some would argue that it's okay, but if you come look at my lighting setup, it is not ideal. It is not ideal. So I wanted him to kind of struggle. I wanted to see the real differences. This one, the Blackmagic, is known for not being super awesome in low light conditions. I wanted to highlight that. The other ones adapt to it a little bit better. I would say a little bit better, but I have them in auto. This one is all manual. This one's all manual. So there's trade-offs here and there. Got this one. Honestly, just because it was on sale. It was a good deal, and there's no other reason to it. I had been looking at the Blackmagic Studio cameras, not a Pocket Cinema. Again, I'm intimidated by all of the manual stuff, so I'm having to learn, and I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I did it. I need to get more serious with my filmmaking. I need to get more serious about messing around with the manual stuff. I've gotten too comfortable with the other cameras that do it all automatically, and they do it good enough. I know a lot of people that are watching this video, probably snooty, nose up in the air. I've got the Sony FX5, and I've got the Sony FX6, and I've got the Canic super awesome cinema. I've got the red, and I got those are amazing cameras. But one thing that I learned early on, and this is true in almost everything in life, and it's absolutely true in cameras, is the humans who will look down on this camera, this Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K, or the 6Ks, or the stuff that's pretty ancient. Some of the stuff that I have is old by today's standards, but they're still very capable cameras. The humans that I've seen kind of thumb their nose at this older technology because they have, I guess, the resources, or maybe they're in debt to have FX5s and or FX6s and FX3s. FX3s are not terribly expensive. Are often the humans that need the gear in order to make them a good filmmaker. They need the gear to say they're awesome. They're relying on the gear to make them good. I wanted a camera that would challenge me to make me good, so that I understand why the things do the things that they do. I don't fully understand a lot of the stuff. I'll be honest with you again. I have broadcast cameras. I don't really need to understand a lot of that stuff, but that also makes me a pretty poor filmmaker if I don't understand why anamorphic lenses are super important. I don't have anamorphic lenses. I hope to one day get to that point. I'm not a good filmmaker if I don't understand the distances and why it's important to know these lines and how that attracts light and how it receives light and how that transfers over to the camera and how the LUT's affected and how you can fix it in post-production. I want to be a filmmaker that relies very little on post-production. I want to use it. I want to use Premiere Pro as best as I can, or now that I have free DaVinci Resolve, I might use it. Although, yeah, I want the new Sony FX5. I have this weird fascination with that brand because, again, that's one of the very first cameras I ever had, and kind of got serious with hobby filmmaking, hobby filmmaking. And now that I'm getting more professional at it in my old age, I want to actually know what it does. I want to know what the levers do. I don't want the assistance. I kind of don't want the AI to fix it for me. It's nice. I'm sure it's amazing for AI to fix your autofocus and the gates to be fully opened, and like I'm sure that's amazing. But then it takes away from me learning why it did it, or why it messed up, or why it needs to fix it in the first place. So this is old, this is ancient, but for me, it's a good introduction, and I think for a lot of you guys, it's a good introduction to the cinema stuff. Learning why the buttons do what it does, learning why the levers do what it does, and why certain lenses are more amazing than other lenses. I'm about to find out why these, I don't even know how to pronounce that name, the Makis, are not as amazing as I'm looking at some used Panasonic lenses that people rant and rave about in terms of the used market. But for me, those are $300-400 investment. This came essentially for free with this camera. And so that, yeah, while you guys are ranting and raving about the Sony FX5 that just came out, that's closer to the $10,000 mark. I don't even remember how much they're selling it for. I bought a used $800 Blackmagic Pocket Cinema. I've got 3 lenses. I got a pretty sweet bag, I guess, which I already sold, made money off of it. Got a cage with it, all for $800, and then I went out and bought another one for $1,100 brand new, $1,100 brand new. So I got 2 cameras for less money than the new Sony FX5. Hell, even the FX6. And I think the FX3s are still more money than these 2 cameras combined. And for me, very capable cameras. For what I'm going to do with them, very capable cameras. And again, I want to learn how to be a good filmmaker. I don't know if this video was good. I kind of don't care if it was good or not. It's something that I wanted to make. Anyways, I appreciate you guys doing the thing that you guys do, and I would really appreciate if you guys continue doing the thing that you guys do on the social medias. doing the likey stuff and the hitting the subscribe stuff and telling friends about it. But anyways, I haven't made too many videos about filmmaking, and here's one. Hope you like that Sony FX5. I'm gonna enjoy the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K.